Hello Year 7, welcome to our last lesson of the term and our last lesson of number theory, at least for this topic. Okay, so I've got a bit of a warm-up question for you first. What I want you to do is to find the HCF, the highest common factor, of 1260 and 784. So please pause the video and see if you can work on that now, and don't hit play again until you've got your answer. Okay, good. So I'm assuming that everyone's done the question now. So let's look at the answer. We first of all do our factor tree. We break up 1260 to 2 squared times 3 squared times 5 times 7. And you all know how to do this factor tree by now. And we've got 784, and that's 2 to the 4 by 7 squared, which of course you all recognize is a square number. And see if you can work out what the square root of 784 is in your heads, just looking at the factor tree. I'll give you a quick moment to do that. And I'll put my answer over here. This is just a little bonus question, but it's 2 squared times 7 times 2 squared times, oops, I wrote 4 there, but I meant to write times 7. So times 7, and 2 squared times 7 is 4 times 7, which is 28. So 28 squared is 784. Okay, now on with the highest common factor. So I want to look at how many 2's I can have. Well, this has got 2 2's, this has got 4 2's, so the highest common factor must have 2 2's in it. I've got 2 3's here and no 3's here, so I can see 784's not a multiple of 3, so none of its factors are a multiple of 3. I have no 5's in this one, and 1 5 in this one, so I can't have any 5's. And then I've got 1 7 here and 2 7's here, so I have 1 7, and that's the highest common factor. Hey, and look at that, it's actually the square root of 784 was the highest common factor. If you're having trouble seeing why that is, watch me write it like this. I can write it as 2 squared times 7, and this is I'm doing the 1260 here, times by 3 squared by 5. So I've written this is the part that the 784 has, and this is the part that it doesn't have. And then for my 784, I write it as 2 squared by 7, and that's because this has a 2 squared and a 7, but it's only got that many, times another 2 squared times a 7, and this is the part that the 1260 has. It's only got 2 2's and 1 7, and this is the extra part. So that's why we can write it as a highest common factor. And we can see that this one is 28 by 28, that's square root, and this one is 28 by 45, okay, if we write it like that, and 45 and 28 don't have any common factors, so 28's the highest factor. Okay, now let's do the lowest common multiple, and we're going to look for the lowest common multiple now. You've seen what a lowest common multiple is when we looked at our basic questions, but now let's look at one where I've got some slightly bigger numbers, and I'm not just doing things like the lowest common multiple of 9 and 15, which is I think 45. But let's look at this harder one here. So we're going to do a similar kind of thing. We're going to work out which is the lowest common multiple just by looking at our prime factorization. So I go 2, and then I look at the 2's. I've got 2 squared here and 2 to the 4 here, and I'm going to take the bigger one, so I've got, I need to get 2 to the 4. The lowest common multiple has to have 3 squared in it because this has 3 squared. It has to have a 5 in it because this has a 5. It has to have a 2 to the 4 because this one has 2 to the 4. This 2 squared is already included as part of that 2 to the 4. And it has to have a 7 squared. So there you go, that's my lowest common multiple, and that's my lowest common multiple written in factorized form. I'm just going to put it in my calculator and see what it becomes. Squared times 5 times 49. Oops, I'll try that again. So 2 to the power of 4 times 3 times, hang on a second, times 3 times 3 times 5 times 7 times 7. You might be doing this along with me. And there we go. I hope I've calculated it right. When I put it into my calculator, I get 35,280 is the lowest common multiple of these. If I've done it wrong, you can tell me in the comments. Okay, another one. Another one for you to practice. I want you guys to now find the lowest common multiple of these two numbers. 22,275 and 2,250. As you've had enough practice with factor trees, I've already done the prime factorization for you. So please pause the video, take out your paper, and make sure you actually try to work it out. I'll wait. Okay, good. I assume you've had a go. So the lowest common multiple is, I've got to have a 2. How many 3's do you think I need? Is 2 going to be enough? Well, no, because I need at least 4, because this one has 4 3's, so I need 4 3's. How many 5's do I need? Is 2 5's going to be enough? Definitely not, because I need to fit in 3 5's, because that's the bigger one, times 3 5's times 11. And there you go, that is a big number. 2 times 3 to the power of 4 times by 5 to the power of 3 times by 11. And we've got, I think I put that into my calculator wrong. I'm just going to go back and change it. We've got, whoa, that really is a big number. We've got 222,750. So hopefully I've done that right. If I haven't, tell me in the comments, but it should be 222,750. Okay, next question, and this is going to be our algebra question as well. I want the lowest common multiple of these, but the trick is now instead of having just numbers, I've got some pronumerals. So pause it and have a go, see if you can work it out, and I'll wait for a second. Okay, good. I assume you're back and you've had a go. So I get the lowest common multiple of 4 and 10. That's 20, nice and easily. Of a squared and a, that's a squared. Of b and b squared, that's b squared. Of c and c cubed, that's c cubed. And d squared and d4, that's d to the power of 4. Okay, so that's it. That's the least common multiples in that factorized form. Now, there's a lot of problem-solving questions inside your Euler books, which brings me to the homework to do over the holidays. On the Google Classroom, you've got a sheet with all the homework uploaded. The last entry in the number theory sheet has a list of questions from the Euler book from chapters 2, 3, and 4. So please go and have a look at that sheet and make sure you do those questions. And the other thing is I want to remind you guys that J4 to J6 of the Maths Challenge is going to be due fairly soon into next term. So please do that over the holidays. You'll be submitting it electronically. And also, please just check in on the Google Classrooms periodically if you can, in case we make an announcement. Okay, guys, thank you very much, and I'll see you, or we'll be back after the holidays.